Being a political groupie is one thing. Trying to focus on the elections is another. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Be a groupie. I know people who just love President Trump, and that's great. And they cannot in any way see beyond this. The level of political amateurism is off the rails. People who do not understand how this works. When people are talking about Lionel Messi in Miami or whatever, they talk about the game. They talk about performance. They talk about stats. They don't talk about whether they just think he's groovy. They talk about the specifics. Same thing with sports. Same thing with baseball. Same thing with everything. But when it comes to political, what I'm hearing from so many people is this rank amateurish nonsense. These children who don't understand that sometimes Trump makes a blunder or that things aren't necessarily the way you might think they are. We're going to be talking about this. Also, what do you think about what Tucker Carlson is saying? The Daily Mail question. I'm not even going to dignify that, especially in this particular forum. Has he gone mad? Now, the people I know say, "Well, I don't care. That's great," because they're basically trolls and they don't understand. And they think it's funny, and that's their thing. But they don't really grasp the notion of how stupid things are. And what you're finding out sometimes is when some people are allowed, when they don't have any discipline, when nobody's telling them specifically what to and what not to say, that's what you get regarding this old guy, Mr. Tucker. And people are not, they can't, this is the thing, they can't remain objective. They can't remain objective. They have to maintain this kind of I'm a big fan status, which is okay. And then we're also talking now, listen to this one. Trump now, for the first time, recognizes the fact he says that he'd have no choice but to lock up political opponents if he wins in 2024. Well, that's another story. We'll get to that. Why would you bring this up now? You don't want to say you're going to lock people up. You want to lock people up if they're guilty. And by the way, you don't lock people up. The Department of Justice, he basically is saying he's violating his same rule, okay? Mitch McConnell has his second freeze moment, which is very, very sad. We're seeing more escalations in the Russian-Ukraine war that nobody understands. Nobody. If you want to hear anything about that, you must hear nothing on cable news. Nothing. And over 1,600 scientists are saying there's no climate emergency declaration. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. That's a big deal. And Canada issues a 2S LGBTQIA+ advisory for the U.S., or whatever the hell that means. Then we learned that President Biden is defending his Maui disaster in the face of Republican investigations, and he shows that he can work with our friends, with Ron DeSantis, who is absolutely escalating. He is on a rocket. Do you see what's happening? Or do you see his demeanor? Now, of course, the Trumpers can't focus on this. They can't handle any of this stuff. The New York State says that Trump should be found liable for fraud even before there's a trial, which is interesting, which is kind of sort of what they want to do regarding Rudy Giuliani, because they basically defaulted him on his case. And Biden is going to depart from tradition on the upcoming 9/11 anniversary, and we're going to go on and on and on and on. There's so much stuff. 9/11. Don't look. Just do yourself a favor. Just go like this. Say never forget, and then that's it. Okay. Just do me a favor. What everybody does. 9/11. Go 9/11, and then say never forget, and then forget all about it. Don't ask any questions. Don't say anything. Don't ask anything about it. Nobody knows anything about 9/11. I've been through this. I've been through a desert on a horse with no name. I've seen this before. Nobody knows anything about this. Nobody knows anything about this. Nobody knows anything about this. You understand what's going on here? And climate, oh my God. Some of the stuff that is happening right now, they're saying that Hurricane Idalia is not unprecedented. It's not. Many people are saying it's no different than dozens of other hurricanes. The only thing unprecedented is for landfall in that small 50-mile stretch. So what we're seeing right now is simply this. You are seeing yet again, as we say, I sound like Colonel McGregor, again, you are seeing an absolute level of weather and climate cacophony. But the climate change activists are saying the reason for this is because this is so interesting. They're saying the reason for this is because of climate change. And then you're saying, what's climate change? Oh, I mean, what do you mean? Well, you know, no, I don't know. What do you mean? They don't want to acknowledge too much of Florida or Lahaina because they're ignoring it altogether. And watch what little they do. Watch how DeSantis tries to explain what the government is doing, and watch how he acts as a governor. This is very interesting. So the climate folks are saying, listen, this is all climate change. And then the other day they said, no, it's about power lines that are down. But wait a minute. Is it about power lines or is it about climate change? No, it's not. It's not. So nobody knows what they're saying. Nobody knows what they're saying. Plus, you're seeing again this argument, this discussion about whether it's science. And all I know is this. You are about to see, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, a cacophony of disaster after disaster after disaster, little by little, bit by bit. And while everybody is talking about, well, is this because of climate change? Or is this because of, is this FEMA? Or is this infrastructure? Or is this, and you know, the energy weapon crew. I'm not even going to go with that because that's just some people just love anything science fiction, anything, lasers and weapons and things like that. Do you know how easy it is just to set fires? I mean, it's like, leave the lasers behind. Okay, there's a fire. Great. I can do that. Turn the lasers off. We don't need those right now. You want a fire? I'll give you a fire. We know how to do this. It's simple. Some of the most horrific fires in history started from. Anyway. You see how people are getting out of their mode of realm. Their mode of realm. This is the thing that you are going to do, irrespective of this. You are going to recognize whether it's fire, climate change, down power lines, God, force majeure, acts of providence, whatever it is, you are going to contact preparedwithlionel.com and get ready for whatever is the cause for the next disaster where stores are closed and food is limited. That's what we're going to talk about. And you're going to go to preparedwithlionel.com and you're going to save $200 off a 3-month emergency food kit. That's it. Whatever the cause, whatever the reason, God, Satan, liberalism, Marxism, conspiracy theories, whatever. We don't care. All we know is that there's a whole bunch of folks right now in Florida, even though this may have moved on, that are without power. I think power is coming back, but they don't know what to do. So let's learn from this right now. Anybody who thinks that prepping is crazy today is out of their minds. Go to preparedwithlionel.com and sign up and look what you've got. save $200 off a 3-month emergency food kit. Because if you think for a moment, if you think that this is over with, you're out of your mind. Okay, so what do we do right now? Well, let's talk about some other things which are very interesting. Number one, I find this fascinating. Look at what's happening to Ron DeSantis. Now, the Trumpers, as I said before, hate this, because they think that Trump is going to somehow win and Trump is doing great and Trump is fabulous, but they don't understand what is happening here. And they've never understood how politics works nationwide. So keep an eye on that. It's the most fascinating thing there is. It's the most fascinating subject there is. You understand what I'm saying here? It is the most fascinating subject. It's called American politics. And you can listen to any of the shows, and they will not ever tell you, well, I think Trump better watch what he says. Well, I don't think, maybe this is going to be tough. You may not, I know you understand this, but a lot of my friends don't understand this. People do not get excited over a president that is, for whatever it's worth, a president that is under indictment. They just don't. They don't think it's worthy. They don't like it. They don't think it's going to help. They think it hinders. They think a lot of stuff. The other folks say, "Oh, no, you don't understand. That's Trump at his best. Oh no, that makes Trump's, and they just make this stuff up. It's like, are you kidding me? You think it benefits a president to be under indictment? Oh, absolutely. No. You're not going to lose your membership card and your decoder ring if you understand North Dakota, if you understand what's happening. And I'm telling you, watch what DeSantis is doing right now. I've never been a fan. But if he beats the Democrats, that's the guy. What do you want? Do you want Trump to win or do you want to beat the Democrats? What do you want? It's up to you. Other people are so parochial. It's all about Trump and being vindicated, and they're dealing with their stupid relatives and all this other kind of stuff. That's the thing. That's the problem. That's the most important issue. Okay. Now, does anybody know? Did you hear what Tucker did? Did you hear about that? Did you hear about Tucker and what he said about Obama? I'm not going to mention this. Did you read what the Daily Mail said? Are you? And it's funny, you're not seeing a lot of this on regular, a lot of stuff, which is very interesting. There's a lot of stuff. You understand this? There's a lot of stuff that's going on right here. And I find this fascinating. Fascinating. Why don't you think more people are covering this? Why don't you think more people are dealing with this? Why don't you think more people, and this is important, why don't you think more people are interested in, how do I see this? In bringing this up. Are you following me on this? Are you reading between the lines? Why isn't there more of an attack? Look up Mediaite. That's the most. They are so biased beyond the point of anything even remotely. Oh, look at what Mediaite says. Fox Corporation stock price is now higher than before Dominion settlement and Tucker Carlson exit. You see what they're doing? Who's behind that one? Is Dan Abrams pushing Fox now? Why would that be? Why would Dan Abrams, and that's Mediaite, because he's locked in with the left. He's the mouthpiece and has been forever. But why would they do that? Is he planning something with Fox coming up? Is he going to be switching sides? Is he going to go from the basement and obscurity to something? Always ask yourself, why are people doing things? Why do people do things? Why are people saying, I don't understand? Anyway, there's so much to discuss. There's so much great stuff to discuss. And the bottom line is simply this. It's kind of in a doldrum period. This is all like, somebody writes this. Look at this. Someone writes, and I've got to say this. That the geoengineering chemtrail planes were definitely outfitted with space lasers. No. And they're not my geoengineering chemtrail planes. And don't ever use that word. Don't ever use that word. Don't ever use that word. Chemtrail is a conspiracy theory and sends you over here. Geoengineering that's recognized. And that is acknowledged. Now, let me say something right now. And I mean to tell you something. And this is where this is where some of you go here. And some of I go here. You do such I'm not mentioning any names here. I don't want to embarrass anyone. You do such a disservice, an intellectual disservice, a spiritual, factual news and truth disservice when you say, well, obviously they were fitted with space lasers. When you do this, even in jest, you ruin the cause. You are the reason why they call you a nut. You are the reason why I have to say, okay, I got to be over here again. I have always had, every time I've always said, no, wait a minute. Let me try my best. Let me try my best. Let me do my best to I can't read what you just sent me, so okay, I can't read that small. Anyway, let me say this again. I did a video last night, and I hope you saw this, on conspiracy theories. And I'm always trying to explain to people conspiracy theories, what people don't understand about conspiracy theories. And this is why I'm always trying to tell people, no, don't connect me with these folks. No. This is not it. Unfortunately, this is not it. This is not the story. This is not the story. Let me give you this again, because I'm glad we're going to talk about this. Because listen to me and listen good. We are in a fight for our country. Okay? We are in a fight for the future. There we go. That's it right there. That's the video. Watch this. We are in a fight for our country. And we have many, many people who are fighting against us. Number one, sad to say, we have people such as the ignorant left, those individuals who don't know what they're talking about. They don't even know they're left. They just hate Biden. They just hate Trump, but they think that whatever the Democrats do, they're okay with it. Okay, that's that group. That's number one. Number two, you have a group of people who are within this who are a little bit more pernicious and more dangerous. These are the folks who represent, for lack of a better word, these are the people who represent a faction that is hardcore radical left, Soros type. Those are harder to find, but they're there as well. You got to deal with those folks. Then you have the insouciant, I don't really care. They're the most dangerous. They don't know about anything. They vote Democrat because their father was a Democrat, or they always were a Democrat, or their friends are Democrats, and they have a bag that says Strand. These are the New York Times. Okay. Now we have the Republicans. The Republicans, these are the clueless folks. These are the people who don't know anything about anything. They know nothing about politics, nothing about elections, nothing about anything. They love Trump in an almost weird kind of he's like their boyfriend or something. It's the strangest thing you have ever seen in your life. Then you got the Larry Kudlow group. Nice people, but they're living in the era of the Reagan era. I was watching something about listening to lectures from the Acton Institute, and people who were talking about William F. Buckley and prototypical conservative groups and whether conservatism and the Federalist Society. I mean, all of this stuff is like, what, blow off the mothballs off that one. My God. And they're the worst. These are the folks who absolutely, positively don't know anything. I mean this. They're the most dangerous. Then you have this other group of people. These are the ones who, and I have known these people. They are not, it's funny, you don't really have, and they're called conspiracy theorists. You don't really have them on the left, but you have them on the right, and I'm using these things. And they believe in things that are, anything that is, how do I say this? Anything that is exciting and science fiction or really deeply. I know some people, you can always tell when they use slang. For example, I know what you're talking about. I know they're using space lasers and HARP based. This is DARPA and HARP and SPX, and they're doing this, and they're finding out or they'll throw out DARPA whenever they can, or if they can bring in an operation. This is paperclip. This is mongoose. Well, mongoose. And by the way, there was a paperclip, and there wasn't. And they love to speak in code, and they want you to know how much they know. They want you to know that they're. And I have met these people. And during 9/11, you don't remember this. You weren't around probably for that, and that's okay. But it was unbelievable. And the reason why is because there were so many moving parts to it. You had 2 towers, Building 7, Shanksville, Pentagon, Ground Zero, War Games, Cheney, PNAC. It was a dream. It was fertile land. And people came up with stuff that were just, oh my God. It was so interesting. And then what happened was people who don't understand the difference between hypothesis and truth. I'm going to tell you something. Remember something. I think you know this. I believe in the First Amendment, and I believe that people have the right to practice their religious beliefs any way they want. Any way they want. It doesn't matter. They can practice it any way they want. Whatever they want. This is it. But all of a sudden, we'd be talking about something, and we'd be in a political discussion or something. And then all of a sudden, they would say, because of the blood of Jesus Christ. I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, hold it. No, wait a minute. We're talking politics, or we're talking history. No, because in Ephesians 4:6, in 1 Timothy, was like, what are you doing? Because I'm a Christian. It's like, we're talking to people right now. We're trying to convince them politically. They may not agree. What if they're Jews? What if they're Muslims? What if they're atheists? I don't care. I'm right. This is an American country born in Christianity, the foundations of which is, what about the Treaty of Tripoli? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I've met those crowds. Oh my God. It's like, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian, but you're bringing this up in an argument about what? What is the matter with you? This is the story of my life. This is the story of my life. This is it. Or people who don't, they'll say, Remember, I heard somebody the other day talking about drag shows in schools. They go, we haven't had a drag show in the school. You're getting the story wrong. You're getting the story wrong. I know people who only focus on trans. So let me tell you something. Join me in walking away from the majority of these lunatics who have absolutely no earthly idea of the issues. None. This is their. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I got to get away from you. Got to get away from you. And the story that I really say is, number one, do you see what's happening with BRICS right now? Do you see what's happening? No, forget it. Forget it. Forget it. You know that China is buying our property, our real estate, yes, and CCP members, yeah, and how do we do? How we're having people try having Americans going into Beijing and buying huge swaths of real estate. Okay, that's number one. Number two, forget the notion of artificial intelligence. Just forget that. That thing is gone. Nobody cares about that. Nobody got it. Nobody understood it. They're trying to move on. I don't understand. I don't get it. And what we're also talking about is, how about Vic Ramaswamy? What is Vic telling you that Donald Trump didn't? What do you think is going to be the landscape of our country vis-a-vis the world? What specifically is Vic or anybody saying? No, he'll go on a show, always lighted the same, purple kind of fuzzy lights behind the person, heavily processed, all the same look, heavily edited, loads of production stuff, minimal information, absolutely minimal information. Dear God, are you going to join me in this? What are we going to do? There is no, if this is the right, I am scared beyond anything, because it is so fractionalized. It is so demented. Do you hear what I'm saying? It is demented. I've never seen anything like this ever. I've never seen anything. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when I'll tell you something right now. A guy whose stuff I really, really, really like a lot is Mark Morano, Climate Depot. Some of the best, what he cites it, you look at it, you see where it is. Let me tell you what happens about that. It's very important. The other day, somebody said, well, what's the source of that? Have you heard this one before? Well, what's the source of that? Here was a story that says the Global Coalition of Scientists says that politics and journalistic frenzy has propelled a doomsday climate change hysteria. The signatories also ask other scientists to address uncertainties and exaggerations in their predictions of global warming. And there's one particular case from this thing called Just the News. Okay. Now, here's the way the argument goes. Well, wait a minute. Where is that? Is that a valid news source? What? Is that a valid news source? Is that real news? That's not fake news. Is that real? Yeah. Well, how come it's not in the New York Times? How come it's not on CNN? Why? Because this is information that is contrary to the official story. Where are you going to find this information? Journalism is dead. I was watching something the other day from this CUNY TV or something, from the days of interviews with Don Hewitt, Morley Safer, Mike Wallace, Howard K. Smith. Journalism is dead. Journalism is dead. When Intel sends out a spy, or used to send out a spy to go out and to find out what was happening, when Intel sent out a spy, it would do so, he would be dressed sometimes as someone else in order to find the information. And he would have to go kind of underground to find the information. That's Intel, right? That's what journalism is today. You understand what I'm saying? Citizen, civilian, alternative, and foreign media are the place to go today. That's where you find these things at. That's where you find this. Do I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear? Now, we're always going to be held to a higher account. We're going to say, well, who are these people? Find out. I don't have to justify this story. They will say, how many stories have you heard about Russia? Russia is on the brink of collapse. Remember all the diseases that Putin had? Remember that? He had Alzheimer's, he had dementia, he has cancer, he has this, he has... Remember that? All over the place. None of it panned out. Nobody ever corrected it. Nobody ever said, hey, you said, forget what I said. Remember when they were going to degrade the ruble to rubble? That the economy, everything, that the sanctions in Russia didn't happen. Didn't happen. None of it's true. No, where's the money going? I don't know. Where's it going to Ukraine? Don't know. They have no idea. Nothing. Nobody's ever held any of those people accountable. Nothing. And the reason why is when it comes to the notion, the left, so to speak, know that people on the right have no interest. They can't find Ukraine on a globe or a map. They have no idea where Ukraine is. They have no interest. They have no interest. None. It's not their thing. Conservative media deal with meat and potato stuff, low-hanging fruit, simple stuff. Did you see the other day the woman or the man who had the exaggerated breasts with the teacher, these mammoth prosthetic breasts with a relay and nipples the size of manhole covers? Did you see this? All prosthetic, all scaring people. And okay, if I didn't know better, I'd say, listen, bring that guy out. Why? Just to change the attention. It's like a cat with a pen light. Squirrel over there. And people talked about that forever. I'm going to say this again to you. And I'm going to say it again, and I know it, and I don't care. I'm right, and I know I'm right. I was right about geoengineering. I was right. Now people call it, they still call it chemtrails, even though I told you, do not call it that. Doesn't matter. It's a name, is what I call it. We are right now creating. Imagine this. I've created a nuclear bomb. This is a new bomb, which is equivalent to 1,000 Hiroshimas. This bomb can create more bombs on its own and can reprogram, recode, write its own code, recursive self-improvement, and can up the horsepower, so to speak, the tonnage, the TNT, the kiloton, can do it on its own. Do you hear what I'm saying? It can do this. And it can build more of these. And it can detonate itself. And it can send itself to different places. Because it acts as a super intelligence, the likes of which you can't even imagine. Do you think anybody would understand that? You're saying you have a nuclear bomb, yes. That can create itself, yes. That can write its own code. That can actually change its lethality, yes. And nobody can stop it? No. And we don't know who's doing this? No. And we don't know how many of them are out there? No. And there's nobody in charge? No. And this thing called alignment, this new kind of bomb, did you ever figure out a way to override it? No. So it can just make its own bombs? Yes. And just send them up? Yes. And we won't know who's who? No. And it can fool people? It can maybe mimic codes. Do you know what that is? Believe me, Prepare with Lionel ain't going to help you with that one. You're on your own with that. Yes or no? How many of you wonderful people can even explain to me quantum computing? Yes or no? Roughly. Do you have kind of an idea of what quantum computing is about? Roughly. And the big story is that, well, we're up there in the Amazons go about 50 qubits. I don't know how many. We need 1,000,000. We're far from anything of any, who knows about quantum computing? Just yes or no. Have you heard of it? You don't go into explain it. I'm just have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? Think about it. I'm curious because this one blows my mind. This one blows my mind. Have you heard of this one? No. This is the best one ever. This one, imagine that one day, and they're always poo-pooing it. Well, I don't know about this. Imagine no encryption. No encryption. No encryption is what saves the world from everything. It's the big lock on everything. Bank accounts, weapon systems, the release of pathogens, whatever you want to do. It's it. No encryption, no nothing. Okay. And thank God we live in a country where we have no education system and incurious people with no ability to research anything on their own. Nothing. If you don't give it to them, they're not going to follow it. You have to give it to them. If it's not on TikTok, if it's not on Daily Mail, if it's not on whatever it is, whatever this Facebook, if it's not on your Facebook news feed or whatever the hell it is, forget it. We are so screwed. It's not even funny. Absolutely. And promoting at the same time the biggest bunch of smartasses you've ever seen who know everything. They know everything. And who can write, who actually feel no compunction about saying, yep, they definitely retrofitted those chemtrail planes with space lasers. Definitely. Literally. You got to use the word literally, using that word incorrectly all the time. This is where we are now. We are so doomed. We are so screwed. I mean, it is just, oh my God. And if ever I even see Fox News or CNN, I just run by it. I say, dear God, somewhere along the line, somewhere, I want to find these people. I want to teach them a class. And I want to say, I'm going to give you a lot of information. And I want you to push that button and tell me when you believe there is enough evidence for you to say that you know something for sure. But if you're wrong, that button will deliver 50,000 volts of untethered electricity through you. So you can go ahead and you can say, yes, I believe in such and such. But if you're wrong, and if there's no evidence of this, you will be shocked. Ask people, do you believe in UFOs? They don't even know what that means. Yeah. Or no. That's my favorite. Yet no. And when they mean believe, they don't mean it the classic way. They mean there's proof of it. We are. Listen to this. There's a very interesting thing here. Very interesting point, which I find interesting. Did you see how there is this movement? And they always try every now and then of entertainment. I'm changing the subject a little bit. Dave Chappelle, Alice Cooper, Santana, John Voight, who's tried to do it for a long time. It was Clint Eastwood. It was John Wayne. But there's this movement that I guess opposes prototypical leftist stuff. Who is it that represents us? Anybody? Who is it that represents us? Can you tell me? Is there anybody who represents us? Who represents us? Who is the person? Who is the star? Who is the commentator? Who is the whatever it is who says that's me? Some people can say CNN, you might say Fox. How do you represent? What is it that you believe in? Because I don't know where to start with that one. Where do you begin? Where do you begin? What is it? Conservative? No. Conservative? No, I'm not a conservative. I don't even know what that means. Liberal? No. Who? Who are the people? Who are the people who say, well, that's it for me? I don't know. I have no idea. It is such a smattering. It is such a smattering. And in my university, we have to have one class on elections. On elections. We have to have another class on critical thinking and how to be able to put together a thought or an idea, which is, I know this sounds kind of highfalutin, but nobody knows how to even think about what to think. They have opinions based on nothing. Nothing. We also have to understand a little bit about history. History. Do you know that every single thing we are doing today, every manifestation of this country, can probably be traced, believe it or not, to the Dulles brothers? That's when it burgeoned. That's when it just took off and flowered. Before PNAC, before whatever it is. That was before the globalist, the notion of the globalist and all. Yeah. That word doesn't really have the sting. But nothing really is new here. It is, but it kind of isn't. And here's the best part. Internationalism. People like Alex Jones have done, I think, a very good job initially in turning people on to the notion, to the perils of what the prototypical globalist is. And they are to be commended for that. But they are not telling you, well, what is it that they are doing? We just use this as a word for boogeyman or bad guy or whatever it is. There is a reset that is going on right now that is so cataclysmic. Let me give you an example of something. I don't know how old I was at the time, but I liked what I thought was jazz. I was a kind of a kid. My mother turned me on to it, and I kind of liked, Dave Brubeck. I like that 60s kind of, Joe Pass, kind of cool jazz. A little bit of bebop, a little Jerry Mulligan and all that, West Coast, East Coast. Okay. Tom Jobim, Bossa Nova, of course, I thought, this is great. This is jazz. So somebody said, have you seen Downbeat? No, what's that? That's the magazine. Look at Downbeat. Holy. Then I realized, oh my God, I had no idea what was going on here. It's international. It's better in Europe and in other countries than here. I had no idea. That's what globalism is. If you think you know, but you don't know. And we are going to be crushed. Believe it or not, and I'm going to tell you this, you enjoy American supremacy. You enjoy American supremacy. You may not think so. You may not like it. You may not like Joe Biden, and you may not like these people. But you love this thing called American supremacy. You like the idea, and you do, of the United States being the baddest character on the block. You do like that. And I know you do. And it's one thing that you can say, well, at least nobody's bothering us. Not anymore. Not anymore. I heard something the other day, not the G, but BRICS is putting together their development bank, and the top 5 countries are bigger than our G7. I'm going to leave you with that. I know sometimes when I'm losing my audience, and I know that because it's a lot. There's a lot for this, and I recognize it. And it's not that it's complicated or anything like that. I'm not suggesting it, but I know that what I'm saying is not in any way what other people are saying. So follow me on Twitter. See if you can try that one. That's a tough one to do. Subscribe to this channel. Very, very important. Please like this video because it helps the metrics like you cannot believe. Please hit the YouTube notification bell to be notified of live streams and new videos, which is very, very important. Also, you can go to lionelmedia.com to subscribe to my uncensored, culturally inappropriate private channel where I can talk about specifically the lunacy of Tucker Carlson and what he's doing and how I think he's lost his mind. Also, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors and YouTube on Lynn's Warriors as well. And you know what? Our dear friends, I haven't talked about because but our good friends, My Pillow. Don't forget, always go to My Pillow. Doggone it. The best people, Mike Lindell, use promo code Lionel and you get a free gift. And look at the stuff that is there. God bless them. And of course, you know what I'm saying. You know what's important right now. Listen to me very carefully. You go to My Patriot Supply and preparedwithlionel.com. And there is nothing any more serious than that. All right? Okay, dear friends. Thank you for your love and attention. Keeping me right. Always in the right direction. Living just enough for the city or something like that. In any event, we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Might be a tad truncated, but nonetheless, we'll be there. Have a great and a glorious day. Remember, research, be an autodidact, learn, investigate. Don't sit back and let other people tell you what is important. Go to foreign media, alternative media, citizen, civilian journalism. That's where it is. Read history. Go back and spend some time. If you're driving in a car, listen to any C-SPAN book review. Listen to the history of John Adams. Listen to the history of the Dulles brothers. Listen to the history of McCarthyism. You will always find something out. The YouTube and the media are replete with wonderful documentaries, which you should avail yourself of. Believe me, you need the education starts now. Nothing that you ever learned in school. It starts now. All right, friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.